on PennLive, our Facebook page. We're calling this a virtual visit that will also show up on PennLive coming up in the next day or so. That's Landon Tengwall next to me. If you'll notice, he's a lot bigger and stronger than I am. He's a 6'6", 300-pound offensive tackle from Maryland, number 5 at that position in the country, number 27 overall, according to Rivals. He jumped through a lot of hoops to be here, and we appreciate that. You guys can ask some questions by getting into the comment stream on Facebook. Obviously, if you're watching this video on PennLive, you missed the boat on that. But Landon, I appreciate everything you did to be here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
So what's an ordinary day like for you in this quarantine situation? Are you having a hard time occupying your time? Or are you staying busy?
I mean, I'm staying pretty busy. I mean, normally, I wake up. If it's a weekday, we have schoolwork, so I get some schoolwork done. I got 4 classes a day, so normally I'll do like 2 maybe. So I'll get two classes out of the way. And honestly, it's not that much work, maybe 15, 20 minutes each class, versus normally our class is about an hour and 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's definitely more productive. So I normally get 2 classes out of the way, around probably be like 11 at this point, and then I'll come down, eat. So then I'll go downstairs and work out. And, thankful to my dad, I have a squat rack, bench rack, dumbbells, all that good stuff. So I'm able to get some good workouts in, and then I'll go outside and work on some technique, stretching, that type of stuff, and then normally I'll come back in, shower, eat, and then finish up my schoolwork, and then probably a lot of Netflix and PS4 follows.
Well, I saw when I was looking for your name to tag you, I saw you had some really good advice for people who were struggling with commercials on TV. Yeah, share that with people. Let's get to the good stuff now.
Yeah, that's my dad. He's the one that actually started that. But we hate commercials, and nobody likes commercials anymore in the age of the Netflix and the Hulu and all that stuff. So figured out that it's for an hour-long show. It's about 22 minutes that you have to be recorded for 22 minutes for an hour-long show for you to be able to sit through no commercials.
So clearly you're a kid who works hard, but you work smart too. Like that's just good practice. Is that your dad asking about the tree?
That's my dad. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know. We have some branch right there that was never taken down.
Yeah, maybe we can flip that around. We'll have him on next week. We can ask the same question of him. So let me ask you this, just to get into recruiting stuff a little bit. You mentioned, and I thought it was pretty cool whenever you committed, that you wanted to kind of get the ball rolling on this class. Were you anticipating the ball rolling as much as it has shortly after you committed?
Yeah. I mean, I knew commits would definitely start to come. I wouldn't say this much, especially when I think we had 4 commits in 24 hours. So obviously I didn't expect that. So, the guys from Michigan, they definitely helped out. They really helped out, really get it going. So I don't want to take all the credit for that, but I feel like we're starting to really pick up some steam. Just got another commitment this past Friday. So I think we're going to get a couple in May. So the fans definitely should look forward to May, possibly a quarterback coming here soon. So
nice. Well, so I like to ask you questions just about football, and I don't usually poke around too much on the intel and what but people really want that. And so how educated of an opinion is that May suggestion from you?
I mean, it's a pretty good possibility. I think a lot of guys are swaying on when they're going to commit because they don't know when this is going to end. Because I think a lot of guys, and I was in the same way. If everybody knows that it's gonna end here, in the next couple of weeks, over the whole country, then I'm sure guys will probably, wait a little bit longer. But if it's gonna be, another 3 or 4 months until you can really go anywhere, I'm assuming a lot of guys are just gonna say, forget it. I'm just gonna commit. So I feel like that kind of plays a role. But obviously we're talking about Christian here. I think he's looking at a commitment date of. He told me May, possibly June. So pretty soon here. And our odds are looking very good from what I can say.
Well, I saw the experts kind of shifted in that direction. He has a Final Four that he put out a week or so ago, but I don't think anybody's more of an expert on this situation than you are. So I think that's exciting. And I know,
Yeah.
that was a source of stress for people who follow recruiting closely, just wondering about him, and if it's not him, then who? So I think you're bringing some
Yeah.
peace of mind, I think, to people.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think Caleb Williams is probably a stretch for us. I think a lot of fans get excited when when he's on our, we're in his final five and stuff. But I always tell people don't get too excited because I don't want to get their hopes up. But I think Christian's going to be our guy.
And I know I saw some thoughts out there that maybe his game isn't appreciated, on a national level as much as it should. What do you see from a kid like that he's better than his star rating or national ranking?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I watched this film recently. I mean, he's like, what is he, 6'3", 6'4"? He can sling it. I mean, I feel like that's definitely a quarterback you want. I mean, he can move too, from what I've seen. So, I mean, I think he'll be a great quarterback, especially once he gets with Coach Soraka and the guys. I mean, he'll definitely keep improving.
Somebody says hi, Landy there, so I don't know. I mean, are you
That's
going to be? So your Landy nickname, I don't know if that'll catch on or not, but
I
we'll
hope
see.
not.
So I think you're showing up as your dad's name, and you're getting called Chris. But
No, yeah, it's all good. I understand.
either way, well, welcome to the PSU family. Is
It's
the
all good.
let me ask you just about timing. Where would you be right now if you did have the option for visits? Was this your timetable all along? Would you have committed by now anyway?
Let me look at the. Yeah, I would have been committed. I would have been committed this. Well, I would have committed last Tuesday, so a week ago from today, and then I would have headed up to the blue and white game, and been the new commit, all that good stuff. It would have been really exciting, but this happened. So, and I had it all planned. I was gonna. I had a suit. I'm still gonna obviously use it, but I spent money on a whole custom suit, and I was gonna put Penn State. On the inside, so I was going to stand up and open it up, but all
Oh
that all
man,
that fell through. So
touch of class, touch of class. That's
yeah,
disappointing.
right, exactly.
Let me throw this comment out there, and I think that's another one people are really feeling about. So obviously Tristan Lee from down in Virginia, and Nolan, who just put his top 9 out there. What do you think about these guys? Not only from a what are Penn State's chances perspective, but what makes them so good?
Mm.
You play the position, you can recognize their game and what makes them so good.
Yeah, if I had to tell the fans something, I've been telling people this a lot. Our chances with Rucci are definitely better than Tristan. I see Tristan probably going to Clemson or somewhere else, but I think Nolan's going to come here. Whether it be towards the end of the summer or early season. I see us getting Nolan. Probably not Tristan. I mean, they're both super athletic and long guys. So I mean, that's what you look for at a tackle position. You look at a guy like Tristan Wirfs, who was maybe the 4th or 5th tackle in this draft. Went to the combine and showed how athletic he was, and now he's going to be probably might go 4th overall to whatever. I think that's the Giants.
Yeah.
So you see how important athleticism is. So both those guys have that. So that's really good. But yeah, I definitely feel better about Rucci than Tristan.
Would you mind the light behind you is kind of like silhouetting your head a little bit, maybe so we can see more of the tree. That's a win-win. So what people dreaming of a bookend situation where we've got you on one side and let's say Nolan on the other. How good is that offensive line?
No, that would be definitely that would be real good, and I'd love to add someone like Rocco to it. That'd be real cool. That's I'm sure fans love Rocco. That's another guy that I think we're picking up steam with. I think Notre Dame is still in the lead, but I think we have a decent shot at him. So that's someone I'm really going after. But it'd be really cool to build a really good offensive line. I think when we really start to impact, I think Caden will still be around. I see him. Being a guy that's going to probably go to the draft, whether it be after redshirt sophomore or the year after that. I mean, he's a great player, so we need to build a good offensive line in this class.
You can't. I mean, so your size first of all, when it comes to your size, walk me back to like when you were a kid, like what your growth chart was like. Were you always like 100th percentile guy?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I came out 10 pounds 3 ounces. So I don't know my length, but I was a big baby. So shout out to my mom for that one.
Six
But
six 300. I've heard your your workouts and that kind of thing are pretty hardcore. That's a passion of yours to keep working on your body.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I was just when I last time I was up at Penn State, we did me and Coach Trout actually both did the I can't, but the bod pod. It's called the bod pod, where it tests your body fat. I think he was around 11, so he takes pride in eating really well. Um, my dad said 26.
26 inches at birth. Now the bigger question, what was your wingspan at birth? That's the more important question.
They didn't take my combine measurements yet. Uh,
Hey, you listen. You gave your mom credit before she asked for it. So you got there.
yeah.
Uh, so anyway, your workout and I'm curious about calories too. Like, are you on a pretty strict calorie intake?
I don't really count it. I just try to eat well, and I eat a lot. You know, every day. I mean, definitely more than normal human eats. I would probably say 6 or 7 meals, and I just try to make it, just good meals, just fruit, protein. I love just chicken and rice. If I'm hungry after a workout, I'll just come upstairs and grab some chicken and just rice, throw it in the pot. Put the chicken on the grill, and then that's a quick and easy meal. So.
I'm throwing random questions in there. You can answer them at your leisure. Any idea? I don't know offhand what number you wear now. Is that how important is that number to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've worn 72 my whole life. I know Bryce has that. I mentioned it to him that I asked him if I could get it off of him. He said maybe. So, because I don't know, he said it didn't really mean much to him. So,
Okay, negotiations will happen when you arrive.
you're right. You're right. So hopefully 72 is the answer.
You got a fan here and Ryan who's kind of echoing those sentiments about the fellow offensive lineman in the class trying to get after them. How do you go about, because it's such a it's a personal decision for kids, and obviously if you want to play a leadership role in the class, you have to maybe try to get Penn State's best foot forward. But how do you do that without pushing too hard and while respecting what their process is, each of them?
Yeah. I mean, really, you just want to become, close with the guys. Whether, there's a lot of relationships I have now with guys that, maybe I didn't come to the school. For example, a guy like Blake Fisher, I'm sure a lot of fans know him. Me and him, we'll still play Fortnite and that stuff. Obviously, I didn't go to Notre Dame. But, it's all about building relationships with guys and just, becoming friends with, the type of guys you're going to play against for years to come. And, that definitely helps, get them to come to, your school, aka Penn State. So that's really all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to like push too hard, like, when are you going to commit, come to Penn State, bother them like that. It's more, just trying to just become friends, just build that relationship, just like the coaches do with, the coaches did with me, trying to do the same thing with other guys that, I'm trying to help recruit.
Relationship building without pushing, in other words. Here's a good question from Kevin that I wanted to ask about your impression of Phil Troutwine, and you went back with him before he got to Penn State, right? What kind of person, recruiter, and what's important to him, whether it's technique or attitude wise as a coach?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we talked. I might have talked to him one time when he was at Boston College, but I asked him actually. I said, "Why did you never hit me up when you were at Boston College?" And he was like, "Yeah, I didn't have a shot at you, so I didn't want to waste my time." So, but yeah, as soon as he got the job, Coach Franklin texted me and told me it was him. And I heard rumors earlier that it was going to be him. And probably 30 minutes after I've told this story, probably 30 minutes after he got the job, he texted me, and then we called for about 45 minutes, and we talked. And right then I learned a lot of his major things. He's big on technique. He loves nutrition for himself, and he loves that. I love that too. So we talk all the time. If I have any questions, I'll text him about it, about really anything nutrition. So yeah, we honestly, when we talk, on a personal basis too, about life. So and he's a great coach. I mean, you look. I mean, a lot of guys can go look at what he's done at Boston College. He took Boston College doesn't get the best, recruits, low level, 3-star linemen, even unrated linemen. And I think all 5 of his starting offensive line last year was either first or second team all ACC. So, that says something about him.
Some development, and I think a lot of people recognize about him and kind of dream about, okay, so now you got a guy who's a full on, like, well built 6'6", 300, like yourself, and you can kind of imagine what he can do with that. And I'm curious whether it was him or other coaches. How close did they feel like you are from a technique and from a size and stuff standpoint of maybe trying to get on the field pretty early in your career?
Yeah, that's definitely an advantage that I wanted to have. So that's why I put on so much weight so early. I'm sure everybody's heard the story. That I put on a ton of weight going into my 8th grade spring ball. I was like 275, 280 in the spring of my 8th grade, and that was kind of a plan so I could carry that throughout my high school career because a lot of guys senior year are just getting to 300. I've basically been 300 since my freshman year. So, I carry the weight a lot better. I've already transformed it, for the most part, to muscle. Leading back to the bod pod, I think I was like 23% body fat, which Coach Galt told me was already one of the best for the offensive linemen. I think there was like maybe Caden is the only person that was better than 23, something like that. So,
and he's from another planet, so that's good company.
Yeah, Caden's a great player, but yeah. So that was the idea behind that. So I wanted to be able to play early, versus guys like I said that are just now getting to 285, 290, and they're not even really used to the weight. I'm used to it. Like I said, turning it to muscle, all that good stuff. So yeah, and really, Coach Trout. We've talked a lot about it. It's really just going to be what opens up. Whether obviously I never want this to happen, but if someone got hurt, I had to hop in. I feel like I'd be ready, my freshman year, if they needed me to hop in. So, really at any position, I feel like that's big, you want to be able to play all 5. So, and that's something Coach Trout preaches.
I'm just going to get a couple of comments on here. So this is somebody I know, Jeremy, GOAT in your respect, greatest of all time, GOAT in my respect, probably just the animal. David is thrilled you picked Penn State. That your commitment did come at a time, like obviously a slow start and, for a good reason with a lot of, turnover with the coaching staff. But I think your commitment, whether that is what materialized into all this momentum or whether it just served to soothe fans, either way, your commitment came at an important time around here.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I knew once I committed, it was really going to start get going. And I knew, it was, everybody was depressed. And I said to, I think I said to my dad, I was like, I just want to do it. Just get out the way. I didn't know how long it was going to be. And, and I've said that, I already knew I was coming to Penn State, obviously. So, I just wanted to get it done, get the fans hype, for this class and get the class rolling. I think that really helped, especially with the Michigan guys too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people appreciated the leadership component of even making your decision at that point in time because you recognized the big picture. And speaking of the big picture, I wanted to circle back. You mentioned as a sophomore, you working on adding this weight the right way over time. Were you how much were you getting the sense that Division I was like definitely in your future? Because that's to make that commitment as a young kid. You had to have sensed that this was coming.
Yeah, I would say I didn't really probably spring ball of 8th grade. I kind of realized that it was probably going to happen. I went to a Maryland camp, and they basically said they were going to offer me, and they kind of did in 8th grade. So from that point on, I feel like I've always had a great work ethic. Like right after my season ended in the fall of 8th grade, I started working out 2 times a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, because my middle school didn't start till 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'd wake up at 7 and get a workout in, and then come home at night and work out again. So I feel like my work ethic's always been there. So that's helped me a lot with this. But at the beginning, I would say I was probably just kind of forcing on weight. Wow, I was still working out too, but it wasn't the greatest weight because you can't put on that much weight and it'd be all good. But that wasn't really I wasn't trying to just put on good weight at the time. I was just trying to get the weight on and then worry about, transforming it later, which, I think I've done a great job of. So, I feel like I'm following the plan, very well that I set for myself.
A year or two earlier than some kids get to it, as you mentioned. Here's a
Yeah.
pretty saucy question from Robert. Which team are you most looking forward to beating in the Big Ten? Is there one that's got a target on its back now?
No, I definitely want to beat Ohio State. Particularly at the whiteout, that'd be something special. And I think, I mean Michigan too, but it's Ohio State. It's always the Ohio State fans coming for me, all that good stuff. Obviously I want to beat Maryland too. That's not saying a whole lot, but they seem to not like me very much. So that'll be kind of fun to come, especially at Maryland. That's something I definitely want to do.
Is that the fan base that's coming after you the hardest, just
Oh
because
yeah,
you're a local kid who left?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. They don't like that.
Here's Steve, and maybe we'll give your parents a chance to chime in, but how do they afford the groceries? 6, 7, 8 meals a day?
Yeah, I mean it's not too bad. I'll throw in a shake here and there. So I'll try not to spend too much money on food. But it's definitely an investment. I'll say that it's an investment for hopefully I'll be able to repay them down the future. Down the line in the future.
That's a good way to look at it. That's a good question though too. Let me see. I'll circle back to so some of my questions here, but uh, how about Nate? Tell me about Nate Bruce. I'm sure you mentioned watching film on some of these other guys. Give me a little scouting report on Nate. Obviously a big kid.
Yeah, nah, Nate's a mauler. Especially like in the run game. I mean, he can definitely move a man from point A to point B. That's probably the number one thing you want in the offensive lineman. Uh,
There's dad.
see my dad's comment.
Yeah, second job, second mortgage. You are indebted. It's an investment, though. It's an
Oh yeah,
investment.
exactly. But Nate, no, Nate's a great guy. We talk a lot. We have a group chat. With all the commits. And I can't say too much, but we'll have something for the fans coming out with all the commits that I was actually just talking to Coach Franklin today about. So we'll have something kind of fun and goofy coming out here pretty soon. So
Like a social media message kind of thing.
it'll be a social media message, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, everybody will enjoy it, but I can't say what it is yet. But just know it'll be something you guys can look forward to.
All right. That's good to know. And speaking of the group thread, how far in advance do you know about a commitment before we know about a commitment? A day or two?
Yeah, I'd say a day or two. Unless it's planned, unless it's planned and they've known for a while. But I would say like Zaki. I mean, everybody kind of knew about Zaki, but the Michigan guys, I feel like everybody knew the night before because all the crystal balls went in. But I probably knew maybe a week before. Normally Coach Franklin will give me the heads up, so I can talk to them and just congratulate them and stuff, and then normally we add them to the group chat. So the group chat's starting to fill up, so that's a good thing. But,
Yeah, it's getting full. And tell me about so you had this moment. So for you, it was the suit. You didn't get a chance to use it, which I'm sure that's it's disappointing. But you had this moment, but there's all this intel with the crystal balls and stuff that kind of scoop your moment. What's that? How do you view that with the trend going in that direction before you get a chance to sort of have your time in the spotlight?
right, yeah. I mean, crystal balls. I mean, they are what they are. I mean, sometimes they're not right, but most of the times, they get it. Steve or one of those guys, they get some a definite source, and then that's when they put it in, and everybody kind of sees that, and I feel like it almost ruins it a little bit. So that kind of sucks. I'm trying to think of a couple of examples. I mean, big flips. I mean, big flips are always cool, and sometimes those can get spoiled too. So stuff like that. It kind of sucks, but it's the high school football is starting to become bigger and bigger, and more money is starting to be involved with it. So that's going to happen with this.
Yeah, and I think you can only keep a lid on it for so long.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw a couple more comments in here, but Tell me about your game and where you feel like you are developmentally wise from, just from an on the field perspective. What are you trying to accomplish your senior year? What do the Penn State coaches say that they like about your game the most, and maybe some things that you might need to work on over the next year or so?
Yeah, I mean, me and Coach Trout talk all the time. I'll send him clips of me doing a ton of different, technique O-line work. Um, And there's little things. Me and Coach Trout talk about a lot of little things that that I need to work on. Definitely a lot of hands. He's big on hands and the punch. You want to have a great punch, so that's something I definitely want to continue to work on. I mean, I feel like my strong suit's probably the run game because we run a lot at my school. That's how we won the championship. I mean, we ran basically dive almost every play and found a way to win. So that's kind of the identity of a good council football. If nobody's really familiar with our school, but I feel like I'm really starting to improve. In my pass pro too. I mean, that's huge, especially at Penn State. I feel like we pass a decent amount. We run some RPOs too, so that helps, especially with the offensive line kind of frees the D line a little bit. But no, I'm just continuing to get better at my craft. Like I said, send it to Coach Trout, Coach Bowen. Let them even start to teach me up right now.
I threw this question in there, and we talked a little bit. You mentioned, in case somebody missed it, just May potentially being a nice month for Penn State. Anything else you want to add in response to Ryan here?
There's nobody that's silently committed right now. Well, I would look out for a couple look out for a couple names. Christian, obviously QB from Bullis. I would look out for Diego Pounds from North Carolina. He's a newly 4-star on ESPN. I would definitely look out for him. He's a guy that not a lot of people are talking about. That a good chance. I think we land him here in the next month or two. I would keep an eye on a lot of DMV guys like Caden Prather. I think Dante won't come for a long time. I see us getting Dante, but I think that's going to be next year. After the season. So.
I think he set a commitment date already in January. Now things can change, obviously, but
yeah, it's going to be at the All-American Bowl. So I'll be with him all week. That prior because we'll both be there. So hopefully
the final word.
Yeah, I'll make sure I put in the final word for us. But I see us landing Dante there.
How many occasions can you recall, maybe even just in the past year, of squaring up against some other D1 guys? I guess probably a lot of the time you're a man amongst boys there, but how have you fared against guys who look like D1 prospects?
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody's super familiar with where I play, but it's probably considered the best division in high school sports, the WCAC. So, I mean, year in and year out, I probably face a couple 5-star DNs, which there's not that many. My sophomore year, I think I faced 2 or 3 5-star DNs, and besides, and then if it's not that, it's 4-star DNs. I mean, DeMatha, St. John's had a 5-star, St. Francis had a 5-star, 2 5-stars at DNs, I think. DeMatha, Kozia committed to Penn State, 4-star DN. That's constant for me. So that's honestly, and I feel like that's something that helped me a lot. Was coming to good counsel to really play against this great these other great players. And then get the chance, like we're going to play IMG this year. Hopefully that's what happens. Go down there. I'm sure, I think they have, a high 4-star that's just committed to Ohio State, so it's constant for me. I'm always going against good players, and I'm always going against players that I'm going to play against at the next level. So, if I can do well right now, then obviously I think, that bodes well for me in the future.
You've taken, we mentioned, going back to 8th grade, and you recognizing, the need to put on weight slowly but surely. Is that really when you started taking such a business-like approach to playing the game and your future, in the sport?
Yeah. I mean, I knew this was going to be, there's something that I wanted to pursue. And I wasn't, I was going to put my all into it. There was going to be no, halfway. I was going to either commit all the way or, not do it. And obviously this is something that I love, I have a passion for it. So, and that's the thing. It's not like it's work for me. Like, I got to go work out or I got to go, work on my technique. Like it's something that I love to do. And, I'll get all excited about it. Like, let's say I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see someone, working on their technique, and it'll make me want to go outside and all right, let me go back outside and, do some more work. So it's that type of thing. It's definitely the competitive nature in me, which I feel like is very high. So it's just it's exciting, this time.
I'll let you get going after. We'll get one more question from Steve just about, playing a different position on the line. And I think the other corresponding question with that is, what all things did Penn State put on the table for you in terms of where you could line up?
Yeah, I mean, I could line up anywhere. Like I said, freshman year, if someone went down, who knows? I mean, if I beat someone out, I want to be able to play any position. I played right tackle my sophomore year, so I played left tackle freshman and then right tackle sophomore and then back to left this past year. So, I feel like, I'm versed and, and tackle is honestly not even that different. Guard's honestly easier than tackle. So, I feel like I could bump down easily if I needed to. And guard's almost more fun because you get to pull more often, hit more people. So I feel like I can really play anything.
Actually, I'm gonna ask you one more thing too. I'm always curious the story of how you committed and how big of a surprise was it that your timetable, like, to the Penn State coaching staff, and how did you do it? Was this over the phone with Coach Franklin, and what was his reaction to it?
Yeah, I mean, they basically knew. They knew I was going to commit. I was kind of waiting it out, and they were getting anxious. I knew they wanted me to kind of hurry up and commit. But I was kind of like, yeah, I might, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I don't really know. And then, finally Ohio State was getting commits, UNC was getting commits, and I was like, I don't know how long this is going to last. So, I just called Coach. I texted actually Rivals because they were the ones covering it. I was like, what's the soonest we can do this? And he was like, and it was. I think it was like a Thursday, and he was like, we can do it, Wednesday. And so, 6 days later, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And so I just wanted to get that out the way, and then really just, so I called Coach Franklin, all the coaches, obviously they were all separate, so I made like 5 different calls, all of them were, jumping up and down, excited, because I think they knew, once I committed, we were really going to get this class, rolling. So, that's really how it went down, and as you can see, 5 or 6 commits later, we're really rolling.
It all came together how you thought it would. That's Landon Tengwall, offensive tackle from Good Counsel in Maryland, number 5 offensive tackle in the country. Penn State, number 27 player overall. Not only talking about his game, his future, his workouts, but dropping some intel bombs too. So that's much appreciated by fans, and I appreciate you being here. And like I mentioned, you spent a good 20 minutes trying to connect with me on here. I think a lot of people would have given up, but I appreciate all that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for tuning in. We're going to try to keep doing these virtual visits on our Facebook. It'll also show up on PennLive for you to check out. So look for this video in particular on Wednesday. Thank you again to Landon. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.